Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member. Mr. Montoya, do you argue that when someone who has worked for a membership association of a public housing agency has that background, that they should be prohibited from serving in leadership at HUD on public housing issues?
Well, it depends. Absolutely not if they come in as a full-fledged government employee. They are, responding to a vacancy announcement. They're selected. They come in as a full-fledged government employee. I do have a concern when they come in while still working for those, associations. So it's kind of a dual answer there.
Yeah, because you're well aware that there are people who come and do government service who've been in the private sector, but then come work at FDIC, OCC, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, things like that.
Absolutely,
happens all the time. And in the public housing space, would you say it's somehow unique from those other examples I gave?
No, and quite frankly, she could have come in as a GS-15 government employee, having left CLAFA. She absolutely could have done that. The irony there is that then she could have tried to deregulate in her government role, which obviously still would have been a concern for us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And let me also mention that I just think that it's important, and I wonder if you agree with this, that experts in affordable housing and development and management who've worked for nonprofits or government should be able to work in public policy positions. As a general principle, you agree with that, it sounds like.
I do, and I actually don't disagree with the fact that they can come into a department under an IPA in an advisory role, right, but not in key positions doing what Ms. Gross did.
Okay. How would you describe how HUD is providing appropriate oversight of the IPA process so that IPA experts are provided with the guidance to meet all the requirements at the beginning of their service rather than later on down the line?
Well, I would say their oversight was poor to non-existent when these started. It's my understanding now that the Office of General Counsel is actually reviewing every IPA for ethical considerations, these sorts of things. But I am looking at every one they have. I think they have 16 IPAs, so I have launched a review of all 16 to find out, do we have any more circumstances like we did with Ms. Gross?
Okay. Well, I just want to say that I am personally appalled by how poorly Congress has funded public housing. At this time, there's been a study that said that the maintenance budget for public housing to get public housing back up to snuff at acceptable standards would be upwards of $26 billion, and yet in the last 10, 12 years we haven't come anywhere close to that. I'm concerned about that. You got people with inadequate lighting, elevators that aren't working, mold, and all at the same time when low-income people all over this country really need housing. So this is something that continues to be a concern of mine, and we're going to continue to watch this issue closely.
Well, sir, you'd be interested to know that one of the sections of the PIH requirements that Deb Gross tried to deregulate was the requirement for quality standard reviews every year. She wanted to push that out every 2 or 3 years, which would have added more to the very maintenance problem you're talking about. To allow these public housing authorities to not require them to look at this every year so that these people have a clean, safe home is a concern for us. And that is one of those things she tried to change.
Well, thanks for your service, and
thank you, sir.
I'll yield back.
Thank you, sir.
The gentleman.